Okay, so I will now do the video regarding this night as the 24th of June 2008. It is now 3:22, and basically all of the relevant information for today has been recorded from this within this video cassette recorder, or as I call it in French, magnétophone. So, this being said, today I've had very interesting perspectives as I saw myself from within myself as myself throughout most of the day. What I mean by that is that the starting point of my experiences throughout the day was mostly me as who I am here, instead of being within me as the space within my mind, which is secluded and small, which is the place where I normally find myself within, because this space that I characterize as being small in my mind is the space which is inherently with me when I awake in the morning, unless I do something in order for me to get out of that space as the first reflex of my awareness in the day, so that I won't get caught within this subconscious programming that I have programmed myself to become. So this subconscious programming that I've programmed myself to become is based on the tendency of mine, I mean not only, but on the experiences in my past where my mother was always seen as being the one who protected me. And I've already made videos about this in the past few days, and now I will just summarize by saying that this space basically has to be broken, or I have to go through that space every morning. So basically what I have reprogrammed myself to do is to assume, as I get the first impulse of my wakeful state, I push myself through tiredness by telling to myself, I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to define myself based on tiredness. I do not accept, till here no further, I do not accept and allow myself to be defined by tiredness. Till here no further, I do not accept and allow myself to be directed by tiredness. I am not tiredness, I am life. Life is not tired. Life is self-expression. Life is unconditional self-expression. Life is here as who I am, as all as one as equal. Thus, I am here as all as one as equal as life, stable, constant, infinite, never changes from yesterday to today to tomorrow, stable. So basically from this starting point of stability and constance, I become, the first thing that goes through my being when I wake in the morning is the awareness of movement within the tiredness experience. And when I get aware of that movement, I say, no, 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 no more. No more of this pattern of going back into the tiredness and then just close my eyes again and start drifting again into dream worlds. Because this has been the desire of my personality system, to stay away from this outer manifested world, because I didn't accept myself. So based on this acceptance of myself, I sought other universes for me to express myself within. And those universes that I knew of, or that I knew that I had access to, were dream universes. Because in dreams, there is nobody to judge me, or if there are, I have the power over them, in the sense that the dream is my created reality, my mind created reality. So basically, everything that I've defined myself as was within the mind. Everything that I wanted to explore was only my own mind. So I'm only exploring my own mind when I dream, and I'm not somewhere better, because this life is a projection of my mind also, of the mind consciousness system. as a holographic reproduction. So basically, I'm not out of anything by dreaming. I'm still kept within that same secluded space inside my mind, which makes me believe that I am in security, but in fact, I'm just miserable and lonely and desperate for attention and seeking love and seeking acceptance from others without seeking for it, but always having as a back idea the desire to go get attention from others. This backdrop idea that I have, I never acknowledge that idea throughout my days, so I just keep on doing the inane stuff like going to the computer, playing games on the internet, and just spending my time, wasting my time away, instead of applying myself within the process constructively. Like yesterday, I only went to websites and played games and just wasted my time because when I woke in the morning yesterday, I didn't act. I didn't push myself through the first impulse that I got after I woke up for the first time by saying, I do not accept and allow myself to be defined by tiredness. I am not tiredness. I am here within and as each and every moment of breath, stable, constant, infinite. Because I didn't state that about myself, because I didn't push myself from within the experience of tiredness, so that to push myself out of the shell of the experience of tiredness, I just decided not to act upon it and just to wallow inside the tiredness feeling after I had my first impulse of waking state. So I just came back within that space of tiredness and slept and dreamed, and when I woke after that, I felt down. I felt my usual programmed self, and I didn't have the will nor the desire to get out of this space. I was just stuck and doing inane stuff as I've always done for most of my life, just wasting my time. So today was a change in that pattern, and it's a change to which I am determined to apply every morning from now on. And that change is simple for me. As soon as I have the first impulse of being awake, just step out of my bed and start affirming myself out loud and forgiving myself for believing that I need to stay in bed in order to replenish my body. If my body reopens, if my body awakes at, let's say, 3 hours after I first fall asleep, then it's because my body, the awareness of myself as the body, is aware that I had enough sleep and that I don't need to sleep more. But the mind, usually, like in the past, after my first burst of wakeful state in the morning, the mind interferes and says, look, Alex, go back to bed. You don't want to face the day. You know that. We know that. We all know that. In the daytime, you have nothing. You just spend your time doing stuff that is not really gratifying for your ego. Doing stuff that is not gratifying for your body, for your self-image, as the relationship that you have with people in this world are very slim to none. And this life of yours, you don't want it. What you want is to experience me as the mind, as the ego of the mind, within a universe construct where me as the mind, as you, is the creator, is the powerful one, is the one into which the dream is based upon. So basically, kind of fall into the trap of the witty mind, who kind of manipule. I don't know the term in English exactly, but plays with me basically by telling me that I have to go back inside the mind space and dream in the belief that I'm somewhere magnificent, but I'm still in the same shithole as the mind. Even if I would be millionaire, I would be in the same shithole as the mind. So basically, it doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor. The fact is that everybody in this world is within the mind, and that the only way to get out of this shithole as an experience of separation that we all share in common within this world, because we've all agreed on it as one, as all as life, as equal, as who we truly are, which this world is a reflection of who we are as the self, who the self has accepted itself to be, as me, as all as one, as equal, then as long as we're not aware of that, of what we've created, then we'll continue recreating this illusion of separation, which will manifest as war, violences, and crime, and segregation between people and cultures and whatnot, as discrepancies, as unableness to understand each other. So basically, as long as we believe to be separated, we'll create this hell existence, which we call humanity and Earth life and existence in general. So the only way to change that is to stop the mind, and to stop the mind, basically, first I have to stop my programming from running on automatic mode. And this automatic mode always refreshes itself every time I dream and every time I wake in the morning. Mostly every time I wake in the morning. And after I got the information that after 8 hours of sleep, the mind upgraded itself, and it thus becomes more complicated. And when it becomes more complicated, it's kind of harder for the self to push through all the layers of upgrades. And so according to this information, if we sleep between 6 and 4 hours, this is the rightful amount of hours that the body needs to rest. The rest, between 6 and 8, is only needed for the mind to replenish itself, to reorganize itself, to upgrade itself, and to become more complex and more specific in its separated application as the identity, as the ego, as all the traits of the ego that we have. So, and this really ring a chord for me because the experiences that I had in the past as a reference of what Destiny said, which makes me see that what she says is true. I remember that when I had my 2 or 3 manic episodes, in those states I was so full of the understanding that I had about life at that point, which was kind of energy, but still there was something deeper that told me that I didn't want to sleep. I saw sleep as being a breaker of who I am, as breaking my momentum, breaking my opening to the expansive universe, infinite universe. So I kind of saw the sleeping as my enemy when I was in those experiences. And what Destiny told me basically kind of confirms that the inner understanding, or sixth sense understanding, or intuition, which is more precise as a term. So this intuition has been really given a point by what Destiny has said. This abstract intuition has been given a point by what he said about the dream, about the sleep being a moment where the mind upgrades itself in order for it to be more complicated, more complex, more specific in the task of being separated with one another. So in order to bypass this particular upgrade of the mind, one has to awake between 4 and 6 hours of sleep, maybe less, because the body only needs between 4 and 6 hours of sleep a day. So the rest we don't need. So basically I kind of reprogrammed myself lately to wake up after 3 or 6 hours, between 4 and 6 hours, or 3 maybe. And it actually happens, every day I have my first impulse of wakeful state after, let's say, between 4 and 6 hours after I fall asleep. But usually what I do, since I'm kind of still stuck within that pull, that when I wake, I have that pull within me that says, come back here, come back to the dream world. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be there in the outside world. But basically it's the exact opposite. The message comes from outside, but the mind interprets that message from coming from the mind. I mean, the message comes from the being, as who I am, as all is equal as life, which tells me, get out of the mind and get back here where you truly are. And the reverse of that is when the mind tells, don't go there. Well, it's the being that says, don't go there in the mind. Don't go back inside the pole. Stand up within the pole, and don't allow the pole to control yourself any longer. Don't allow the pole to direct you within your application. So I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to be directed by the pull that I have when I wake in the morning, which tells me to go back to sleep and tells me that this is where I want to be in sleep, because of myself having defined myself as a feeling, and thus that feeling being that of apathy or no energy. I kind of go where that energy resonates within me, and where that void energy or that tiredness energy resonates within me is within my dream world. So I go to the dream world. So I have to just stop for a moment and say, I do not accept and allow myself to go where this feeling of tiredness is identified within and as me, which is dream world, and just go to the opposite direction, basically, which is to go to the commonsensical direction, to go to the bodily direction, to go to the self as one as all as equal direction, which is the standing up within that pole and just face myself as the day which is opening, because there are far more opportunities for me to self-realize myself than there are in the dream. So basically, than there are in the mind. Basically, in the mind there's no possibilities to self-realize oneself. It's only when one gets out of the mind, in the sense that the programming in the mind is not influencing the self any longer. So basically what I did this morning is that I stood up within and as me. I mean, at first I noticed that I had the first impulse of waking up at about 3 hours after I fell asleep for the first time. And since it was only 3 hours, I told myself, well, 3 hours, it's kind of short. So I'll just permit myself to go maybe sleep for another 1 hour maybe. But then the phone rang, so I decided to wake up and just say, okay, get on with it, I will face the day. So basically, just to say that I had that first impulse, and if it's below 4 hours, I will give myself the opportunity to go back to bed, but then being vigilant on waking myself up between 4 and 6 hours, because this is really important. And I truly felt throughout the day that I expressed myself in a way which was unconditional. In a way which wasn't conditional to the programming in my mind, as the programming tells me basically, for example, that wear your hat, your cap when you're in the company of others, and especially when you're in another zone. Like today I was at Rémi and he had many people by, many of his friends and one of his girlfriend's friend, so, and father and mother, Rémi's father and mother. So within this environment, normally I would be ashamed or shy of showing my head, but I did differently today. I just removed my hat and showed my head. And obviously I've had remarks by those around there, because they're not used to see me without my hat. So the remark I had basically was that it seems like I had a lobotomy, because the sunburn that I have on my face is on my face, but not on the parts where I hide my face or my forehead with. So this basically told me that it would be best for me to equalize this part by hiding this part of the face, well, when it's going to be sunny, and then just sit in the sun for this part to match the rest of my face. But still, it's not an obligation. But the point of what I had today, of what I experienced today, is that when she said this about my forehead, and when she said also that you're losing your hair, and I say, yes, I'm becoming bald, or it's in the genes and in the family, and my father was like that. So basically I didn't react. I didn't try to protect myself. I didn't try to hide myself. I didn't have the reaction to go within myself in hiding, as I would normally have done in the past. Instead, I've stayed here. I've stayed here in the moment, and I just answered without shame or fear. And I said basically, well, I'm already losing my hair. Because you say you're developing calvicy or losing of hair. I said, I'm already have developed this. And I said this with a calmness. And the way I've said this message, the way I've expressed this message, or the way I've expressed myself, kind of basically, was in a peaceful state, basically, or a state which wasn't influenced by movements within me. So this is a really good example of the day having started the right way with my just pushing myself out of this program, which would have stuck with me throughout the day, because normally in the usual times that's what happens when I just fall into the trap of the mind, which tells me to stay in bed and don't wake up. Because also when I wake up, when I dream, when I sleep for about 4 to 5 hours, I feel so like down, so kind of why am I awake? Like everything is heavy on my face, my eyelids are heavy, and I have difficulties opening my eyes. But still, this is still of the mind conscious system. This is the programming which is in my subconscious mind, which is so deeply ingrained inside my body. It is my body basically. So my body reacts to the stimuli of this program by having the eyelids heavy, and by feeling like all heavy and all like the body, like me believing that basically the body telling me to go back to bed, because it's like I see everything is kind of iffy, everything is out of focus. And I have just difficulties remaining in here, like I'm always yawning in the morning, and and I seem like to look for words. I don't express myself in the same way that I do like in the evening or in the night. I'm like a shadow of myself, in the sense that I'm not fully there yet, I'm not fully here yet, fully refreshed. And those are all tactics that the mind conscious system uses, because the mind is infused within and as my DNA, and within and as my body. So the body responds to the programming of my being, which is what I have accepted and allowed myself to be and become, by making it become heavy and feel as if I'm tired physically from the body's perspective. So this kind of match that my body has with this mental state of going back to bed and staying in bed because everything is so much better in dreams than in reality. Well, the body itself has become the illusion. I mean, the non-verbal communication of my body, which is a very direct message. I mean, a very direct interpretation of what I'm telling within myself in my mind. Everything that I do physically, bodily, is me talking to me as my body. My body becomes the word that I use. But the words that I use, which are expressed by my body, are not as clearly identifiable as what the mind uses, since the word doesn't write like W-O-R-D, or it only expresses what it is when, let's say, there is shame expressed, or let's say when there is guilt expressed, or let's say when there is a lack of confidence. The body expresses those words by changing its posture, and the changes of posture are very slight and subtle. So basically, regarding tiredness, the body, when I awake in the morning, just shows subtle signs of control. And now, well, that's all I have to say. I feel it's come back, and yeah, I've had a good day, and that's it.